Hey, welcome to Star Wars Force Time. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video where I have a little message for you all. So let's get started today. Match number 2 is a new showdown. A showdown between Darth Vader and Kylo Ren. And we're going to be looking at who did it better when it comes to conference room force choking between...
Son.
No, Vader, grandson, your grandson, versus...
Grandfather.
That's right, Kylo, grandfather. So let's get started with the grandson, Kylo Ren. And we find Kylo Ren, before he approaches this conference room, he's running, shall we say, a couple of errands. He goes to Mustafar to find the Wayfinder, and then once he finds that, he heads to Exegol to meet with Palpatine, in which Palpatine makes him an offer of giving him the entire hidden fleet of the Final Order, in which he amassed weapons, personnel, Star Destroyers and all, in exchange for Kylo Ren killing Rey. And then Kylo makes a real quick detour along with his Knights of Ren in order to get his helmet repaired. The helmet that was destroyed in the elevator lift in the Star Destroyer from The Last Jedi. Then he returns to the conference room with severed head in hand. The head being that of a mining supervisor named Bulio. Bulio's species is an Ovician, and he's the character who had a green face with 2 horns. And you'll recall he gave information to Finn, which Finn then plugged into R2-D2 while they were on board the Millennium Falcon, that Poe and Chewie were piloting when they were on the Sinto Glacier Colony. It's the scene where Poe was doing his lightspeed skipping. That was newly introduced into Star Wars canon. So we've got Kylo walking into this conference room with Bulio's severed head in hand, which he throws onto the conference room table. Side note, Bulio is actually voiced by Mark Hamill, who we know to be, of course, Luke Skywalker. So, little side fun fact there for you. So he throws the severed head of Bulio on the conference room table, announces to all his generals that there is a traitor, a spy, a mole within their ranks that's leaking information to the Resistance via Bulio. In this scene, he's confronting his highest level generals, and he is unhappy. So Kylo Ren wants to know who's the mole, who is the traitor. Allegiant General Pride steps in and makes a non-so-veiled accusation towards General Hux's less than stellar performance, with him being held out as the scapegoat for the failure of Starkiller Base, of which we saw implode and destroyed by the Resistance in The Force Awakens. So General Allegiant Pride is making an accusation towards Hux being inept and perhaps linked to this traitor. Then General Quinn puts his 2 cents in and interrupts Kylo Ren, his new Supreme Leader, challenging Kylo about the merits of the sweetheart agreement that Palpatine previously offered Kylo. Wrong move, General Quinn. And voices his concern in a way that's quite disrespectful. Kylo, as he's looking out the window, turns around slightly and reaches out with the Force, and then we see General Quinn lifted up by the Force from his chair and then forced, as he's being choked, to the ceiling. And that's where he stays until Kylo explains what he's going to do next to the generals that are seated around the table, with General Quinn up there on the ceiling being choked and squirming all the time. Let's watch this in slow motion. So this has a huge impact in terms of, well, generals shouldn't talk disrespectfully to the new Supreme Leader, clearly. And also by leaving him up there squirming, not only choking him, but pulling him from the chair, pinning him to the ceiling, and choking him at the same time, and leaving him there as an example That's pretty menacing. Like, that's pretty good. One more time. And it's going to be hard to beat. If there's anyone who can beat Kylo at a conference room force choke, it can only be Vader. So let's take a look at Grandpa Darth Vader. So here we have Darth Vader in a scene from the original Star Wars A New Hope, Episode 4. Darth Vader enters the conference room in which he's got, again, his highest level generals and admirals around the conference room table. And they are discussing whether or not the rebellion is still a threat. They're also discussing should the rebels actually get a hold of the technical readout as to how to destroy the Death Star. Is that really a viable threat? And maybe they should just use the power of the Death Star now to scare them off sooner rather than later. Vader walks in. The admirals and generals are bickering. Vader says the power of the Death Star pales in comparison to the power of the Force, at which then Admiral Conan Antonio Mahdi is in and challenges Vader and says, look, your Force powers have not yet recaptured the Death Star plans. Whatever kind of clairvoyance and sorcery ways that you use, it's not working. So basically, step down, which Vader does not take kindly to and proceeds to then force choke him at the table. This Admiral Mahdi, amongst all of the high-ranking generals and admirals around the table, is being choked. And as you can see, he's struggling to breathe. Then General Tarkin steps in and tells Vader, release him. Vader replies, as you wish. And then Admiral Mahdi is released from the force choke and goes on to live another day. Let's look at this again. Yeah, this is definitely startling in the room. When they're challenging Vader and his ultimate powers versus the power of the Death Star and the power that these admirals and generals can wield, Vader has somewhat the last say there, and it's a cautionary tale to challenge Lord Vader for sure. But ultimately, Grand Moff Tarkin, when he steps in and he commands Vader to release him, he does it, sparing his life. Bruised and humiliated, sure, his life was spared. As to who did it better in a conference room force choking, by being just a little bit extra and calling his own shots, the winner is Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren did it best. Sorry, Grandpa, but you were bested by your grandson. Princess Leia so eloquently stated, Grand Moff Tarkin was holding Vader's leash, and nobody was holding Kylo's leash. So he did what he wanted to do, and by doing that, he was a little bit more menacing than Grandpa Vader. Congratulations, Kylo Ren, on the win of Match 2, Showdown of Conference Room Force Choking. So I want to give a really quick shout out to all my new subscribers and all my new viewers and the viewers who have been so nice to leave such lovely comments on my videos. I really, really appreciate it. Also to the Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, Reylo fan groups that have been recommending my videos. Thank you to all my viewers, everyone. As soon as I love Star Wars, and I love that you love it too. Next time, may the Force be with you, always.